man, ya Allah.
What's going on, huh?
Shalom, Mak. Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah, Barakatah.
Shalom.
Khan. Yo, listen, man, the people been waiting, man. If you gonna drop this hymn of warrior or not, man? Cause we waiting. We've been waiting and we've been waiting, huh?
I'm on it right now.
All right, that's what it do. Hymn of a warrior, let's bring it.
Max, baby.
Shalom.
Shalom. Peace.
This should be played at high volume, preferably in a residential area.
This is a dedication to all my peoples in the struggle. Everybody in the struggle. As it is written, this is not our rest. So we just here trying to make it day to day, y'all.
Hymn for the warriors.
This cold life had no sympathy, streets had no empathy. Girl that I was chasing just wasn't that into me. I tried to be accepted, but the world was no friend to me. So I overcame and rose above it mentally. My people Satan's time's up. Don't depend on blind luck. Sad to say these churches got half our people mind fucked. That means in a trance, I'll tell you in advance. They hate our guts, but they praying on our ignorance. But the Father, He had bigger plans. Another purpose I speak, it makes him nervous, cause I'm killing all kind of lies. Pain being dramatized, it's all about the dollars, so ignorance is monetized. And fools running fake streets, talking about fake beasts. Every time I speak, it's classified as hate speech. Just my thought and words, the system isn't for us. You should think about it while I say the chorus. If you ever been broke and praying for a grand, so you try to make a way when things don't go like you planned. Have you ever had a friend that wouldn't lend a hand? If you never had to struggle, you just won't understand why they hated you and degraded you. Dedicated to my people cause we made it through. This is a
Hymn for the warriors.
nine-digit socialist system is a numbers game. Who cries for us and who can feel a brother's pain? Instagram, Snapchat, all for the love of fame. Praise to Yahweh, I don't know him by no other name. Nobody's after me, strive for my mastery. They say in God we trust, but their mouth is full of blasphemy. And it never fails, they ship us out to jail. They hate our guts and they hate that I'm an alpha male. Raise my son to be an alpha too. And if you're strong and the system has it out for you, sell my soul, that's not what I'm about to do. Not at all. Black leaders, they dropped the ball, and the Israelites got it back. The Bible say that God is black. When I told my mother, she nearly had a heart attack. Just my thought and words, the system isn't for us. You should think about it while I say the chorus. If you ever been broke and praying for a grand, so you try to make a way when things don't go like you planned. Have you ever had a friend that wouldn't lend a hand? If you never had to struggle, you just won't understand why they hated you and degraded you. Dedicated to my people cause we made it through. This is a
Hymn for the warriors.
We need a real revolution, not no marching, not no singing, not no we shall overcome, not no Martin Luther King, and not no begging for a handout. Hoping in the system, no more putting all our trust in another man's religion, no more kneeling for attention. But that's another story, no more Constitution talk cause it wasn't written for me. They say the brother's deep, I say enough is sweet. You out your mind if you think, I'll turn the other cheek. This is my testimony, I wasn't stressed and lonely. I reminisce before the Holy Spirit rested on me. I was breaking laws, I worship pagan gods. If I ain't have it, then fuck it, my crew is taking yours. Living a savage life, I earn my battle stripes. They realize that's not the way to handle life. Just my thought and words, the system isn't for us. You should think about it while I say the chorus. If you ever been broke and praying for a grand, so you try to make a way when things don't go like you planned. Have you ever had a friend that wouldn't lend a hand? If you never had to struggle, you just won't understand why they hated you and degraded you. Dedicated to my people cause we made it through. This is a
Hymn for the warriors.
You ever felt like you was drowning and people see you drowning and they don't even throw you a life preserver? They'd rather just take their cell phone out and take pictures of your demise. You know why? Because they hated you and degraded you. It's dedicated to my peoples cause we made it through.
Hymn for the warriors.
So this is my take on a classic. On the positive side, you know what I'm talking about? Let's go. Yo, your dead presidents don't represent me. Your dead presidents don't represent me. Dead or alive, listen. While others spit that Wonderama shit, that Clarence Uncle Thomas shit, that promise you the world, get in office and change their promise shit, that campaign trail kiss your baby and your mama shit, ain't do a damn thing for our people. That's Obama my shit. Thoughts precisely, but I'm way too enhanced for them. They probably wish I was doing a cool dance for them. Cold and Neil, I remain up in my stance form. I'll never change, you'll never see me transform. I was told to never trust the fraud, never bow, never pray to my oppressor's God. That's just an invitation. And when I'm down, I read scriptures to get inspiration. What else? Chicago is a murder cap. GMOs kill us softly like Roberta Flack. And when I say Christ is black, they never heard of that. What? They never heard of that? Nah, they never heard of that. Like I said, I'm too far advanced. Donald Trump got these coons doing the Carlton dance. Not a chance, they stand up, they all petrified. If he say jump, then they all do the electric slide. Funny, these rappers are all a mystery. Flashes of greatness but showing no consistency. Take a time, read a book, and learn your history. If nothing else, then learn to love yourself. And see your people in a different light. We all actors in a screenplay that we didn't write. Israel stand up cause we are the originals. Fuck your presidents cause all of them are criminals. Your dead presidents don't represent me. Your dead presidents don't represent me. Your dead presidents don't represent me. Dead or alive, ain't no presidents that represent. Yeah. Just a dedication, like I said. Bringing it back to the old school, where it was all about lyrics and not all that funny stuff. With a positive twist. I'm out.
Shalom, shalom. This is Brother Mike Olive from Detroit.
Brother Debak, with y'all, back with y'all again. To bring out the lesson today. You can go ahead and kick it up, King.
Definitely want to thank Priest for allowing us to bring this lesson out. This lesson takes place of a real life thing going on right now. Actually, me and my wife, we have lost 2 loved ones in the same week, and next week is the burial. So from the whole midst of this thing that we're dealing with, we're hearing from ear to ear, watching everything's going by us, learning that Israel don't have their death orders and they don't have their affairs in order. And this is why we have to bring this out, because it's important to have our affairs in order when we lose our loved ones. Because if we don't, we got them scraping and scrambling to everything, trying to find out where to get this policy, how to get the burial going, how to do these things. And, what is our customs of burial, right? You know what I'm saying? We need to find these things out. Everything that we have is all in the scriptures, man. It's this Bible that's going to give us everything that we need, everything. And if we don't go by the Bible, then this is why we got families tearing apart when the loved ones die, because we don't have the proper order. I'm going to start off with Romans 15:4. Let me get that real quick, because we got to have the proper order to get this thing together. We got to have conversations about death when we alive, not when we gone and the family don't know what's going on. We need to have our affairs in order while we're living and breathing.
It's the book of Romans, chapter 15, verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
Right. So, Salakia, go ahead.
That we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope.
Right. Because the scripture is going to teach us what we need to do before we pass away, how we supposed to give down our inheritance, how we do a proper burial, and how we mourn through the whole process. Death is a process. It's a true process, and we have to learn how to do it through the scriptures. If we don't do it through the scriptures, we'll be lost. All right, I'm gonna start it off with Genesis 23, give me 1 through 20. Right, we're gonna start with Abraham. What he did when his wife died, we're gonna see what he did.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 23, starting at verse 1. And Sarah was 170, Salakia, and Sarah was 107 and 20 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kirjath Arba, the same is Hebron in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And Abraham stood up from before his dead and spake unto the sons of Heth, saying, I am a stronger and a sojourner with you. Give me a possession of a burying place with you, that I may bury my dead out of my sight.
Right, so this right here is a funeral planning, right? This is what we recognize, right? We have to deal with the other nations with that. So this is what Abraham doing. He's dealing with the brother Heth. He's dealing with him. He's not in that land. Heth is not an Israelite, but he's dealing with this man because of the fact that, hey, he needs to bury his wife, right? But go ahead.
And the children of Heth answered Abraham, saying unto him, Hear us, my Lord. Thou art a mighty prince among us. And the choice of our sepulchres bury thy dead. None of us shall withhold from thee his sepulchre, but that thou mayest bury thy dead. And Abraham stood up and bowed himself to the people of the land, even to the children of Heth. And he communed with them, saying, If it be your mind that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me, and entreat me for to Ephraim the son of Zohar, that he might give me the cave of Machpelah, which he hath, which is in the end of his field. For as much money as it is worth, he shall give it me for a possession of a burying place amongst you.
So this is what Abraham was implying, like, let me get that field, because I'm about to bury my wife, and I don't want to just bury her there. I want to buy the field, right? He had his affairs in order of knowing, like, hey, I'm going to buy this field so I can bury my wife there, right? Go ahead.
Verse 10, and Ephraim dwelt among the children of Heth, and Ephraim the Hittite answered Abraham and the audience of the children of Heth, even of all that went in at the gate of his city, saying, Nay, my Lord, hear me. The field give I thee, and the cave that is therein I give it thee, and the presence of the sons of my people give I it thee. Bury thy dead. And Abraham bowed down himself before the people of the land, and he spake unto Ephraim and the audience of the people of the land, saying, But if thou wilt give it, I pray thee, hear me. I will give thee money for the field. Take it of me, and I will bury my dead there.
Right. So this is like they're trying to do a verbal agreement. You know, they're doing a verbal agreement. And Heth is like, hey, man, hey, you a prince of this land, man. We just let you have it. You know, Abraham like, nah, we didn't got to do that. Even though we are in the midst of witnesses, we didn't got to do all that, because I'm going to pay for it. And at that time, this is where, in that time of place, every man had his word. They kept their word. Today, we don't have that. A verbal agreement is not the best agreement. That's the worst agreement you can have. Everything needs to be documented on paper. The paper is your audience now. You know, when you're dealing with Esau and them, you need to have your papers. You need to have a certificate. You need to have your death certificate in order, right? You need to have you need to have that. If you want to bury that person, you want to make sure you have that written down and documented. You know what I'm saying? Abraham was like, you know what? No, I don't want to do it that way. Why? Because guess what? If Abraham, when he dies, they can be like, hey, we didn't make no agreement. We didn't make no kind of agreement. So Abraham can't bring his people in that land. That's why it's not good to have a verbal agreement. But in this time, they had an audience. So that was witnesses. That was the notary at that time. And it showed them, hey, he paid his money. So we know this is Abraham's field. Go ahead.
Verse 14. And Ephron answered Abraham, saying unto him, my Lord, hearken unto me. The land is worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that betwixt me and thee? Bury therefore thy dead. And Abraham hearkened unto Ephron, and Abraham weighed to Ephron the silver which he had named in the audience of the sons of Heth, 400 shekels of silver, current money with the merchant. And the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field, that were in all the borders round about, were made sure. And Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Heth, before all that went in at the gate of his city. After this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre. The same is Hebron in the land of Canaan. And the field and the cave that is therein were made sure unto Abraham for a possession of a burying place by the sons of Heth.
So this place that Abraham bought, this was our burying place. This was our burying place. Nowadays, we get buried around the other nations now. We buried at the George Washington Memorial, the Lincoln Memorial. We buried at all these other places that has nothing to do with us. Abraham, we got to understand how we disrespected God and our father Abraham by not keeping the commandments. Abraham put his hard working money to buy a field for us so we can have a burial place. None of us right now know exactly where that burying place at right now. We don't know where that place at. It says it's in Machpelah, but guess what? You can't go to that site, that grave site, and go see it. It's probably not even a site there anymore. They probably got buildings on top of that place. We can't even go in that place. Now we got to get buried close to the ones that we don't have an agreement with. We got to deal with them. Give me Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. Because this is one of the reasons why the part of the curses. This is one of the reasons, because we disrespected God for not keeping his commandments. And this is why we having all these kind of issues of learning how to do a proper burial. Right? And we have to take that in consideration, that we spit in Abraham's face, that we made a vow to God that we was going to keep the commandments, and we end up not doing it. And so now we getting buried somewhere else. Let me get that real quick.
Okay. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again.
Stop right there. And that's all I want. You won't see that thou shalt see it no more again. You won't go back to that homeland again. You won't go back to your burial site where you're supposed to be properly buried at. So what we got to do, we got to go ahead and do what we have to do. We have to get our affairs in order, right? Give me another account. Give me Genesis 25, 1, start at verse 1. We're going to go all the way down to 11. Because when we doing this thing, Abraham messed around, got his wife buried in Machpelah. So now we got to also have these conversations when we are up and living. This is what we need to be doing. Go ahead.
The book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 1. Then again, Abraham took a wife, and her name was Keturah.
Right? So when Sarah died, Abraham took on another wife. But go ahead.
And she bare him Zimran and Jokshan and Medan and Midian and Ishbak and Shua, and Jokshan begot Sheba and Dedan. And the sons of Dedan were Ashurim and Letushim and Luimim. And the sons of Midian, Ephah and Epher, and Hanak and Abadah and Eldai. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had unto Isaac.
Abraham gave Isaac everything, right? Because you know why? That's his only begotten son. All these other children, they just there. You know, them is his children, but God made a promise with Abraham and Isaac. This is the covenant, right? But hey, look what he did. Go ahead.
Verse 6. But unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts.
So he gave them gifts. So that could be like, you can have my clothes, you can have my shoes, you know, you can have a couple of my staffs or whatever. But with Isaac, he gave him the land, he gave him the burying place, he gave the house, he gave Isaac the riches. You know what I'm saying? This is what we're supposed to be doing. When we lose a loved one, let's say you lose your wife. As a man, you have that conversation with your children. You sit down and tell them what you have in place and what's in the order for them. Don't leave them not knowing what's going on. That's what the Israel community be doing. We don't know nothing. We act like everything got to be a secret. I'm not going to tell you that I got a policy out for you because I don't want you to know that. But when you're gone, how are you going to know? Then you got the kids and the mothers and them looking for, what did he have a policy? Did he have a burial policy? What did he have? Did he have a life insurance? Did he have anything? We supposed to have these conversations with our loved ones before we get to that point. You don't find nowhere in the scriptures where our forefathers left the children and the mother hanging. They gave them everything that they needed for preparation. When you marry, that's the first thing you have is life together. And you have to have that conversation one day in your marriage about death. You have to have those conversations. You should not have secret banks that she don't know about. You shouldn't have different policies that she don't know about, because she needs to get to these things. Understand, when you're going through these burial process, you got to have death certificates in order to use your life insurance money. In order to get that life insurance, you got to have death certificates. So what you need to put that in place, have burial insurance. Have that burial insurance lined up, because, hey, when his time is gone, them creditors gonna say, hey, we can't give you anything. Hey, show me the death certificates. Show me the death certificates. If you show me those things, then I can release the money to you. So this is why we got GoFundMe pages trying to get burials done. You know why? Because we don't go through the scriptures. We don't talk to our family about how we need to handle death. We try to make it a secret, or we don't want to talk about it. But guess what? We're going to die one day. That conversation has to come up. And if it don't, then you're going to be stressing your family out even worse that they in when they lost you. All right, continue on, brother.
Verse 6. But unto the sons of the concubines which Abraham had, Abraham gave gifts and sent them away from Isaac his son, while he yet lived, eastward into the east country.
Right. So all of this, he kept the land of Canaan. He kept Isaac in Canaan. Go ahead.
And these are the days of the years of Abraham's life which he lived, 160 years.
Right. He didn't wait to go ahead and pass out the gifts when he died. He had it already prepared for them. Go ahead.
Then Abraham gave up the ghost and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. And his sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah.
No, they buried him at George Washington Cemetery.
In the cave of Machpelah.
Took him to the graveyard where Abraham bought it. And what did they do?
They buried him in the cave of Machpelah in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar the Hittite, which is before Mamre. The field which Abraham purchased of the sons of Heth. There was Abraham buried and Sarah his wife.
So he buried next to his wife. Why? How did they know to do that? Because they had a conversation. They talked about it. How did Isaac and Ishmael know about the gravesite? Because Abraham told them. He didn't have a secret. We like to hold secrets that our family don't know for whatever reason. We don't want to tell our loved ones what we have, and then we don't have any answers when they leave. When we sitting there with a bunch of questions, right? So he buried next to his wife, and go ahead.
Verse 11. And it came to pass after the death of Abraham that God blessed his son Isaac, and Isaac dwelt by the well Lahai Roy. Now these.
No, that's it. That's it.
Okay.
So right there, that's all that shows that Abraham had that affair order. What did he do? He gave his children an inheritance. Right? Give me Deuteronomy 21. Start at verse 15, because we got to understand the proper order. In some cases, not in every case, but this is what we're supposed to be doing when we leave our inheritance. Who we supposed to give it to, right? You know, so it's not in all cases, because we can go through the scriptures. You would see that it didn't happen all the time like that. But this is according to the law. This is what was to do. Go ahead.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 21, verse 15. If a man have two wives, one beloved and another hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, then it shall be, when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved firstborn before the son of the hated, which is indeed the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the son of the hated for the firstborn by giving him a double portion of all that he had.
So the firstborn, right? Let's just say let's say, like I said, two kids. You got two sons, right? You got two sons, and you got you love the younger one a little bit better than the older one. No matter what, the law says you're supposed to give it to the oldest son. Okay. You're supposed to. Here where I said supposed to.
Hey, Salagi, and to add to it is also because, you know, some people would take that, you know, and he had to do this too for the women. You know what I'm saying? The women would be like, hey, this is my firstborn son. The other woman, hey, this is my firstborn son. So they should get a double portion. And, you know, if you're giving this one a double portion, they should give it. But clearly the law says what it says.
Okay. And that's why I said in most cases, you also have to observe who is more who is reliable. So because you don't want to give it to a son or to someone that he don't do nothing. All he do is he drinks his life away. He don't work. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to give it to your oldest son. We know that in most cases, according to what God did, he didn't give it. He didn't give Esau the promise. He's the oldest, but he gave it to Jacob. You know what I'm saying? But But the oldest son, you're really supposed to give it to, right? And it's going to tell you why. Go ahead. For he is the beginning.
Slaka, yeah. For he is the beginning of his strength. The right of the firstborn is his.
He's your strength.
If a man have a
Oh,
stubborn...
no, that's it. That's it. That's it.
Okay.
He's your strength, right? So you know why he's your strength? Because if you believe in regeneration, he may be the one that brings you back. He's your strength. He may revive you back into the world. He's your strength. We got to understand that how God applies life and death in his Bible. When we have an understanding, we have to understand, hey, this is my firstborn. Hey, you go ahead and start holding it down. You bring the lineage again. You start the whole generation again. You're the first one that came out of my loins, and you start the whole generation again. So you have to have these conversations with your children too, about life and death. You have to let them know policies. You have to know what money you got saved up for them. Don't use it until this, and it needs to be documented. Need to be notarized. It can't be verbal agreements anymore because we're not in our land anymore. We're in the land of Esau. So you can tell Esau all you want that, hey, my dad left me some money. They're gonna be like, all right, prove it. Show me the paper. And you can't prove it, then guess what? They keep the money and put it back in their system. So us fathers, we have to step up as men and start speaking to our wives and our children. Same thing as women. Do the same thing. If you're a single mother, do the same thing. This is not, it's a difficult topic, but you have to do these things. Because if you don't do it, you're gonna make it difficult for your children. We already broke the law, so it's already difficult for us. Remember, the Bible says the laws are not grievous. The commandments is not grievous. We make it grievous because we don't follow the order of God. We're not sitting down and talking to our children and our wives about policies and things documented, right? Give me Proverbs 19 and 14 real quick. We're supposed to be having these serious conversations. I'm telling you, I'm around it right now. Both sides, my wife family, my family. We're still trying to figure out where certain policies are at. They're still trying to figure out where they're going to have the venue at for the repast. If we had these things in order, we don't have to worry about these things.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 19.
19 and 14.
19 and 14. Salaki.
I just want the one part. I don't want when it's talk about the prudent wife. Just
the first part. I'll get you. The book of Proverbs, chapter 19, starting at verse 14. House and riches are the inheritance of fathers.
They are what?
The inheritance of fathers.
That's exactly what Abraham did. We see it through the scripture. Abraham gave Isaac his riches, his house, the land, everything. The scriptures, what we just read in Deuteronomy 21, you give your son the inheritance if the mother's not around. If the wife is still there, you make her as the beneficiary. She's the main one in charge. Vice versa. If the mother is not there and the father's still living, it's still the father's job to hold that down. No matter what. The father is the one supposed to have the affairs in order. And if the father's not there, then the husband should be talking to his wife before he passes to have her know what the affairs is and share it with the children again. Okay. It should be an ongoing conversation. We're not promised tomorrow, next week, next month, or another 10 years. We're not promised. We don't know our time. Even after this video, I pray and encourage that maybe if you haven't done it, talk to your family about this. This is very serious business, right? All right, give me Genesis 49 to 28. This is the beginning of getting our affairs in order, right? This is the list of it, right? Let's keep the order of it. Go ahead.
It's the book of Genesis, chapter 49, verse 28.
Go all the way down to 33 with it.
Okay. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel. And this is that their father spake unto them and blessed them. Every one according to his blessing, he blessed them. And he charged them and said unto them, I am to be gathered unto my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite.
He talking to his children, right? Jacob's talking to his 12 sons and letting them know, hey, when I die, bury me in the land of my fathers. What's the land of his fathers? Machpelah. That's where we supposed to be at. And that includes us. That's what we supposed to be at, but we can't do it now. But that's where we were supposed to be at. Right? So go ahead.
Verse 30. And the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, and the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with a field of with the field of Ephron the Hittite for a possession of a burying place.
How do Jacob know that? Because guess what? Abraham told Isaac, and Isaac told Jacob. That's what we supposed to keep doing, passing it down of our inheritance. Who's getting what? Go ahead.
There they buried Abraham and Sarah his wife. There they buried Isaac and Rebekah his wife. And there I buried Leah. The purchase of the field and of the cave that was therein was from the children of Heth. And when Jacob had made an end of commanding his sons, he gathered up his feet unto the bed and yielded up the ghost, and was gathered unto his people.
So that's where they buried him at. And same thing for you. Since we can't go back to Canaan right now, you should make that account as telling your children or your wife that, hey, I want to be buried here and I want to be buried this kind of way. Right? We're going to get to this kind of way though first. And you need to tell them, hey, if you want your wife next to you, hey, have my wife next to me. Have y'all buried next to me too. Right? These are proper order. Stay around your family. Right? Not your wife is 10 miles away from you. Your son is 30 miles away from you. 40 miles away. We all should be buried together. That's the order. That's what we did. Right now, that's exactly how they got us, man. Because we don't have our affairs in order. And we don't understand that that's how God ordained it to be. Everything that God does in this Bible is done in decently in order.
That's right.
Never nothing is out of order, right? So now we got one more account. Give me Tobit. Go to the let's go to the Apocrypha. Give me a Tobit. Start at chapter 4, chapter 4, starting at verse 1. Right? We're going to show you what Tobit did. It's many accounts, right? That we seeing that is conversations being taught to the children of which we should, how I want to be buried, how you should deal with this. Tobit's going to go in a little bit more clear than what Abraham did. And this is another way we need to talk to our firstborn sons, or even just not just the sons, even our children, period. Because you also want to make it to like, hey, just because he's the firstborn son, that the other children, you got more children than one or two, that they don't get nothing. No, you make sure, hey, you are in charge. You get this amount, and you make sure you share this amount with them. Everything ain't about because you're the oldest, you get everything and nobody else. That's not how that works. You make sure that if you got children, more than one, you make sure that the oldest hold it down to be able to be responsible to make sure each one has a percentage to what they're supposed to get. And that's supposed to be documented on the life insurance policy or whatever deed that you have. It should be documented. It shouldn't be where that, hey, dad told me I get this, but you only get that. No, it's already documented. That's why you need a trust. You get a trust fund going, there's nothing that they can do. Everything is smooth selling. That is a reason to stop arguments. Because they don't get the whole thing. It's going to be passed out to each address. Oh, it's going to that address, it's going to that address. The secretary is going to take care of that. So you're not, the oldest son is not going to get all the money on himself, then he makes the decision. No, it's going to be decently in order. All right, go ahead.
The book of Tobit, chapter 4, starting at verse 1. And that day, Tobit remembered the money which he had committed to Gabiel in rages of Midian, and said with himself, I have wished for death. Wherefore do I not call for my son Tobias, that I may signify to him of the money before I die?
So look what he did. He's like, do I not tell my son that he got money? That I got money waiting for him? This is not what we be doing. We don't say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't telling them nothing because I'm afraid they're going to spend it. How they going to spend it if you keep control over it?
Hey, or even worse, I might be afraid they might kill me.
Absolutely. They might kill me just to get this money.
God.
Hey, they not going to get the money. They get caught, then guess what? It's gone. They going to jail.
God.
And the crazy thing, that's what he's doing. I'm about to make sure I give him my money. You know, a lot of Israelites are selfish. They die in envy. And I don't want them to know what I got. I'm not telling them. I don't want to leave them nothing. A lot of our people die in envy because they don't want them to have nothing. I worked hard for this. So why would I give it to them? They got to get their own. All you're doing is oppressing your family.
God.
You made all this money, or you made all these resources, and you don't want to pass it down? That's why, and this is why this stuff pisses me off, because this is why I'm hearing arguments over both sides of my family. Is because it's a lot to do with, sometimes it can be selfish, or it can also be because we're not talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be that guy. This is definitely a learning experience. This right here, bringing this lesson out, is very therapeutic for me. It's keeping me moving. It's keeping me going. It's keeping me understanding that what I'm seeing on the outside, I don't want to do that for my family. I love my family too much to put them in that situation, in those categories. My children know about we have policies on them. They know. We had conversations. Before this incident, we had conversations. They know. They know that they're getting something. They know who is it going to, who's going to be in charge. They know. It's no secret. Me and my wife took the time to do that. If we're going to teach them the commandments, we're also going to sit down and teach them when we leave this earth. Even if they don't want to hear it, we got to tell them.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, brother.
Verse 3. And when he had called him, he said, my son, when I am dead, bury me, and despise not thy mother, but honor her all the days of thy life, and do that which shall please her, and grieve her not.
Right. You know, and that's another thing. Have a conversation with your children. Tell them, hey, when I do leave, son, daughter, hey, take care of your mama.
Okay.
Make sure you take care of your mama. I took care of your mama. So it's now for you, especially son, the oldest son, I need you to step up, be the man of the house right now. Watch, remember what I showed you when I was around. Had these conversations. Make sure that your mama has no need for anything. Don't put her don't oppress her. Don't talk back to her. Respect your mama. Like I'm still here. Right? Because it's like it says, despise not thy mother, right? Don't forget about your mom. Don't go when you married to another woman, still check on your mama. Don't be like, hey, I'm married now, mom on her own. No, still check on your mama.
Okay.
Same thing with the daughter. You married to a husband, still check on your mama. And it says, but honor her all the days of thy life, and do that which shall please her. So whatever she may ask you and she may need, do the best that you can to do it for her. All right, go ahead. Verse 4.
Remember, my son, that she saw many dangers for thee when thou was in her womb.
Right, because you know why? When you are in the womb, it's a matter of life or death for a mother and a child.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And she's fighting for her life and fighting for your life at the same time.
Okay.
That's a mother. That's why you should respect. Us Israelites, we supposed to respect the women, not calling them all kind of bees and hoes, all that, etc. We supposed to be respecting the women. These are real men telling their children how to respect their mama, not disrespecting their mama, not letting their mama hang out because she put her life on the line for you.
Okay.
And then you want to be ignorant to the. You got some children that want to be ignorant, that they want to disrespect their mama by just not want to help or let them do what they do by themselves. It ain't got nothing to do with me. That's not my business. It's that's her business. No, help your mama out by all means. Go ahead.
I'm gonna start from the top. Remember, my son, that she saw many dangers for thee when thou was in her womb, and when she is dead, bury her by me in one grave.
Another account. Bury my wife next to me. That's how I want my burial to be. Bury my wife next to me. Go ahead.
Verse 5, my son, be mindful of the Lord, our God, all thy days, and let not thy will be set to sin, or to transgress his commandments. Do uprightly all thy life long, and follow not the ways of unrighteousness.
So also when you do speak about inheritance, talk to your children again about keeping the commandments too. That's the main ingredient, right? You do want to talk about getting your affairs in order, but you also always want to let them know, before I die, remember to keep the commandments. And when you're doing these things, like let's say for instance, if I was to leave my family, hey, it's important to be with a body. See, that's one thing a lot of Israelites don't think about. A lot of times when we come into this truth, a lot of times we don't want to connect to a body. And you got a family around you, right? You got children and you got a wife. You are in this truth, but then guess what? If the father dies and the mother dies, who do the children can rely on to stay spiritually strong?
Okay.
That's why it's important to have a body, because you want to tell your children, hey, if anything happened to us, hey, you got people you can go to continue to still learn the word, to still walk in the path that we taught you. Now you got a brothers and sisters that can come around that you are familiar with. You don't want to be leaving your children hanging behind and be like, you know what? Let your auntie and your uncles take care of you when we go. You know what's going to happen right there when they're not in the truth? Sooner or later, your children are going to be out the truth.
Okay.
That's why you want to have a spiritual connection. And you want to write that in a will. When I die, me and your mom die, guess what? I want you to stay with, I would tell my children, stay with Lions of Israel. Connect with the brothers that you've been around with. That's familiar faces. Because they're going to teach you and they're going to help you grow to be a man and a woman you're supposed to be. Put that in the will. Don't let your children stray away. Finding, oh, I don't know what to do now. Because your children don't have a clue what's going on. They're just following. They're just following the parents. But you want to make sure you have those conversations so they can be around familiar spiritual faces. That's why it's jacked up when we say we don't want to be in a camp, but we're not thinking about that. We're not thinking about death. We're thinking about like, hey, we could do it ourselves. But when the head is gone or the second head is gone, then what the children is left? They left with nobody. So if the head drops, the body falls too.
Okay.
All right. Continue on, brother.
All right. Verse 6. For if thou deal truly, thy doings shall prosperously succeed to thee, and to all them that live justly.
Right. So if you continue to keep the commandments, everything that I'm giving you, you're going to be wisdom to know how to invest it. You're going to have wisdom to learn how to deal with everything. Okay. Go ahead.
Give alms of thy substance, and when thou givest alms, let not thy eye be envious. neither turn thy face from any poor, and the face of God shall not be turned away from thee. If thou hast abundance, give alms accordingly. If thou have built but a little, be not afraid to give according to that little.
So he's just telling them like, hey, help out when your people in need. He's telling them that he's teaching them also not to be selfish when I leave this earth. You know why? Because Tobit is a righteous man and he wants to see his son again, to be in his arms again. That's what this is all about. Trying to make sure that we get ourselves right as parents to keep the commandments, and that we can come back and leave the legacy for our mothers, our fathers, our children, our wives, or whatever. The legacy for them to come back to us, so we can see them again and be cheerful again if we make it to the kingdom.
Okay.
Right? All right, now jump down to verse 13.
It's the book of Tobit, chapter 4, verse 13. Now therefore, my son, love thy brethren.
Love thy brethren. Right? That's the law. Leviticus 19. Go ahead.
And despise not in thy heart thy brethren.
Leviticus 19 again.
The sons and the daughters of thy people, and not taking a wife of them. For in pride is destruction and much trouble, and in lewdness is decay and great want.
Right. So what that means, that goes into like, hey, you mess around and be lazy. That lewdness is representing that laziness, right? He's telling them like, hey, continue to work, continue to do what you're supposed to do. But if you fall into that spirit of lewdness, you're going to decay, right? That means you're going to not be able to take care of yourself. You're not going to be able to keep up with the home. You're not going to keep up with your family. You're going to end up being in poverty. Go ahead.
For lewdness is the mother of famine.
Right. Laziness. Continue to do the work. It's the same thing when of our brothers and sisters that pass away. We can't waddle in laziness. Go back and still do the work. Because I'm going to get to that a little bit later. But that's what he's talking about. He's saying, hey, don't be in lewdness. Right? All your life, I didn't teach you to be in lewdness. So right now, do what I told you to keep the proper order and you will have success. Right? So now, give me those two videos. Start with the animated one first. Because we're about to go in. We're going to show a couple videos about the proper burial, how we supposed to be burying our loved ones. You know, so because we don't know, we haven't seen how we supposed to be buried, right? We're not supposed to be buried with a suit and tie. We're not supposed to be buried with liquor in our casket. We're not supposed to be buried with a bunch of flowers and pictures inside of our casket. That's not in the scriptures. Not one time that's shown in the scriptures.
Okay.
We're going to bring out a video, two videos. It's going to show you what our customs were when we were doing burial.
Okay. You can still hear me? Just making sure.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you clear.
All right, okay.
In Judaism, traditions around death have two purposes: to comfort the living and to show respect for the dead. This respect starts well before the funeral, at the moment of death. It is traditional to never leave a body alone. This is
Pause it right there.
Guarding the body. Volunteers from the community or
the
people
computer
paid
a
by the
little
funeral
slow.
home sit in a room
Right.
next to deceased rests and traditionally recite.
Okay.
Go back a little bit. I want to go back to that part where the body is laying at. Just a little bit. You can go. Yeah, right there. See, that thing right there on wheels is called a bier. Right? That's where they laid the body on. They were not in no casket. This is where they lay the body on, right? They lay it on it so they can wheel it out. Right? It's multiple accounts when you read in the scriptures where you'll see where they push the bier out, and taking it to the gravesite. This is what that is. We have them today. You know, when they put the casket on there, they lay it on, they put the casket on top of it, and they may bring it down and so they can will it out. That's what the bodies land on the beard. So yes, that's one of our customs, but it's not a casket. But go ahead.
Okay.
Body alone. This is called shmira, guarding the body. Volunteers from the community or people paid by the funeral home sit in a room next to where the deceased rests and traditionally recite Tehillim, Psalms, or study other texts. In the old days, shmira was meant to physically protect the body. Doing shmira today is a way to set aside time to remember the person without the distractions of work, children, or anything else. Tahara, the ritual purification of the body, is done by the Chevra Kadisha, a burial society found in many communities. They come to...
This is what priests be talking about, right? Those Chevra Kadishas, we need that in the Israelite community. They are the people that prepare the body. They are the ones that we don't have to go to Esau and let them do the gut us out, take all our intestines and all that, etc. That's not part of our customs. We didn't have surgery during death. We didn't put embalming fluid when we died. That's never was the case. Continue on.
Hey, and Salaki, I just want to add to the part where they talked about guarding the body. That would be the big reason why. You know what I'm saying? Because they would go in and steal your organs or anything like that.
God.
Here we go.
Come together to recite the prayers and perform the following acts. First, they physically wash the body. Second, there's a spiritual cleansing. Some dunk the body in a mikvah, while others will pour water on the body. In the final stage, the Chevra Kadisha dresses the body in garments similar to what ancient high priests wore. They are dressing the person to go before God. Many people doing Tahara for the first time go into the room thinking, I'm going to wash a dead body, and it's going to be a challenging experience.
All right, you can stop it right there. You can stop it right there. Just trying to get to the point. So what they do, we don't go to the morgue. We don't get scalpels and gutters out. We don't put us in freezers. And then we don't go ahead and start drawing makeup on them. We don't start decorating a dead body. This is Esau wicked custom. This got nothing to do with our customs. This right here is part of our custom, what we're looking at. We're supposed to wrap them up, wrap up their legs, put the little towel on it, put the wrap on their heads, everything. They're supposed to be covered up in wraps. And we're going to get into what we put in there. I just wanted to bring that out. Give me the next video real quick.
Okay.
We're not supposed to be in no suit. How you gonna decorate a dead body? You cover a dead body. It's not our customs, man. The Bible, we got scriptures to back it up. All right, go ahead. I'm ready.
Okay. 1 second. Gotta wait for the screen to blow all the way up.
That's why we don't need the nations, man. We need this Bible. This Bible gonna give us better information than ever.
All right, Salaki, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Go ahead.
Okay.
You can jump forward a little bit.
How far?
Let me see. Now just let it play out. Just let it play out for a minute.
Okay.
Because they're going to show you how we cleanse the body.
As the members of the Chevra Kadisha prepare to begin their holy work, they do so in silence as the gravity of what they are about to perform weighs on them. The blessings are recited, which gives the members the strength to begin their work with focus and purpose. When we die, our body is returned to God, properly cleaned and dressed. The first part of the ritual is to gently and carefully wash the body, who is referred to as the mate. To return this gift to our Creator in anything less than a pristine manner would be an affront, not only to God, but the person whose soul occupied these worldly remains. Through water, we are purified. The continuous pouring of 3 buckets of clean water over the mate, or by dipping into a mikveh 3 times, is the means by which the purification occurs. Once all 3 buckets are poured, the mate is considered pure. The mate is...
So you see that they pour the water, it's a representation of purification, right? They wanted this, we did it for a way. We didn't have buckets, I believe, in that time to go ahead and pour water on them. You know, I definitely believe in the scriptures that we use water, and we did it the way of just wiping the body down, you know what I'm saying, to clean it up. But other stuff that I'm gonna get into what else we did. I just want to show the preparation of the body right now. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Is completely dried of every drop of water. As water is the vehicle to achieve purity, by thoroughly drying the mate, the purification process is complete. The process of dressing the mate begins. The simple burial garments, known as tachrachim, include pants, which are closed at the bottom, a shirt, a kittel, and a headpiece.
Hey, pause it real quick, Debat. And you see right now the man in the blue shirt. What is he doing? He's tying up the feet. He's tying up the feet and everything, right? You know, that's part of the custom to tie up the feet. Go ahead. And we tie up the hands too.
Okay, and let me add too. You know, the reason why you do want to tie up feet, you know what I'm saying, tie up any parts is to keep it from moving and to keep any bones from breaking. You know what I'm saying? You literally supposed to come back, you know, no bones broken or anything like that. So just want to add that in there.
Okay.
Special knots are tied around the ankles to create the appearance of shoes. Other drawstrings are tied with a special knot to resemble the Hebrew letter Shin. And the belt is tied to resemble the letters Shin, Dalet, and Yud, which spells Shaddai, the name of God. The mate is dressed in this manner to resemble the Kohen Gadol and be ready for his journey to Gan Eden.
All right, you can stop it right there. All right. So I just want to show how we are not supposed to be coming to a funeral home wearing our apparel of the heathens. We come out this world naked, we get buried naked, right? But we cover up the body. Same thing as a baby. When you come out the womb, what do? They put you with linen cloths over you. We lead the same way as linen cloth. The body does, right? So whatever we seeing now today, that's not our customs. You know, give me I'm on the small part. I'm gonna go to Sirach twice, but give me Sirach real quick. Give me Sirach 38. I just want verse 16. I'll tell you where to stop at. And this is gonna be according to our customs. I'm gonna also show out some pictures. Show them this is not our customs.
Says Sirach 13.
38. Start at verse 16. I'm gonna share in the midst of that, I'm gonna share my screen.
Slakia, let me do that.
I'm good now. Hold on. Hold on 1 second.
Turn your volume down on the tablet.
Yeah, what I'm about to do. Oh man, my bad. Hold on, let me close this off first, and so we ain't gonna hear that. Hey, put me back on that other screen so I can get out of that real quick. And then no, go back to your screen.
Forget it. I'm gonna just take. All right, Kyle. I'm gonna just tell you where to go. When we go to the screen, I want to go to the weirdest funerals on YouTube, and you can mute it.
You said the weirdest funerals?
The weirdest funerals. Salakia about that, ladies and gentlemen, about that. That was my second computer, so I apologize on that. Still trying to work how to work this thing. And when you play it, just pause it. We ain't gonna go to it right now. I want to bring the scripture out first, and then we're gonna go to it. That's the one. The one on the bottom right there with the man with the pimp. Just leave that right there, and then we're gonna go to that.
All right, let me click on it real quick. So I can load, and then I can pause.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. When we see this video, this is ridiculous. Trust me. You can pause it from there. This is ridiculous. This is going to be ridiculous when we really see this thing, because this is not our customs. Give me Sirach 38, starting at verse 16.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 38, starting at verse 16. My son, let tears fall down over the dead, and begin to lament, as if thou hadst suffered great harm thyself, and then cover his body according to the custom, and neglect not his burial.
All right, according to the custom. That's what I want out of that. We're going to get back to that a little bit later. But according to the custom, well, the videos we just seen, how we supposed to do the proper burial, get the body together. Watch how we do it, and how Esau gave the thumbs up to follow in, because it's come from them. Go ahead and play this video. You can pause the music, the sound. We just gonna talk over this wickedness.
Okay.
And you can you blow it up?
Yeah.
Watch this mess. This is chaotic, man. Look at him. They remember him being just sitting on his couch in the living room with his Steelers watching football. They remember him on a motorcycle, a dead man. It's not our customs. I don't care about that one.
Okay.
It's not none of our customs. Look at him. He dressed up as a DC comic guy in a whatever he had. Man, that's scary like a mug. Nobody want to see that. He in that suit again. Not our customs. Look, and he got beat up and he in his underwear. That's crazy. They buried him in a car. Right? This is not God's customs. Another motorcycle. God said, according to our custom. Look at them. This is what we learned it from them. Where we learned that stuff from? Look at him. He driving.
That
look crazy, man. We can pause it, man. Get rid of that, man. That stuff crazy, man. I just want to show, read that again, man. Sirach 38 again, man.
All right, it's the book of Sirach, chapter 38, verse 16. My son, let tears fall down over the dead, and begin to lament, as if thou hadst suffered great harm thyself, and then cover his body according to the custom.
Cover his body according to the custom. With the videos we just shown, that's the custom. Not putting a dead man in a car, a dead man on a motorcycle. You know, it's the other videos I've seen where they had this Issachar sitting on there with his friends gambling, playing cards. Looking crazy, man. That's crazy to me, man. That's not God's custom. That's making a mockery of the death. God created life and death. All souls are his. So we're making a mockery of the body. And they're supposed to be buried the same day. We're going to bring that in the scripture. Let me get Deuteronomy 21 and start at verse 21. We're going to start off with that one first, because we're about to learn the proper burial. Right? Because we have to first get our affairs in order with our children. We got to tell them where we want to be buried at. We want to make sure we have burial insurance. We want to make sure, even if you're in a camp, you want to make sure you talk to your head, your leaders, let them know you got burial insurance. You have to let them know how you want to be buried and how you have it already documented. Also, you got your family members that's not in the truth, right? They're not in the truth. So you can't make a verbal agreement and say, you know what, I'm in this camp. And you know that we believe what we believe according to the Bible. So I want to be buried according to the Bible. You want to let your family know that I have it documented. Don't give them a verbal agreement. Because you know, it been a rumor in the camp that happened to one of our brothers in the camp. A verbal agreement, and then the family went and whatever. Right? We shouldn't have that. We shouldn't have it like that. We should be able to tell our families, our mamas, our dads that may not be in the truth, like, hey, I know that y'all go to this Christian church, but I don't want to be buried at the Christian church. I have my affairs in order where my family, my wife is going to take care of the proceeds of what I have written down in the life insurance. I have a will, what I want to be done, where I want to be buried at. My camp leaders, all of them already know. I don't want to be in no suit. I want to be wrapped up according to our customs. And we have to have that all documented. We have to let our family members know that. So, because you know why? Because it's going, if we don't say that, they're going to say, that's not how I want them buried. That's my that's my family. That's not your family. It will eliminate the confusion. If we do these things while we're living, get our affairs in order right away. Don't wait until until you about to be in your deathbed and you can't really respond to anything. Do it while you're up and healthy. It's important, very important, right? So these are affairs to keep our stuff in order. But now let's study on the burial, right? Give me that Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 21, and we're gonna start at verse 21. Let me get there with you. I'm there.
Okay. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 21, starting at verse 21. And all the men of his city shall stone him with stones, that he die. So shalt thou put away evil from among you, and all Israel shall hear and fear.
Right. So this is just when someone dies that did something that was unlawful. This was their part of their judgment. Go ahead.
And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death, and thou hang him on the tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day.
Bury him next week.
Bury him that day.
We have to when our people die, we have to bury them that day. That's according to our customs. Now, understand that may not always be the case now, but that's still the law. We do what we can to keep the law. Because you know why? Because it's going to be, that's why we want to keep the burial in our community. Because if we take it outside of the community, it's going to take them about at least a week to get the body done. And then maybe another week to get the money in. You know what I'm saying? So we want to keep the law of keeping our affairs in order. That's why it's important to let your family know, like, hey, I want to be buried the same day. I want to be wrapped up the same day, taken care of the same day, not next week. But we don't know these things because we're not in the scriptures. That's why we're bringing it out right now. We're bringing it out right now because our eyes are open to know the truth now. Our family members may not understand that. They're going to look at that. That is weird. That is dumb. They want to go by the white man traditions. We got to go back to the Hebrew traditions. All right, go ahead.
For he that is, start from the top.
Yep.
His body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day. For he that is hanged is accursed of God, that thy land be not defiled, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance.
Right. So we don't defile the land of the promised land, right? So that day we should be buried, right? That's why we should be prepared for everything. Not wait to the last minute, but get everything right now. So if the time comes, if it may be that you can be buried that same day, because everything is all in order. Or however, you know what I'm saying? That stuff takes time. It may not happen the same day, but guess what? At least we're not going to do it to the customs of the heathens. All right. So now give me John 19. Right. Let's go to John 19 real quick. We're going to go about how Christ was buried.
All right, 19. Where you want me to start at?
John 19, start at verse 38.
Damn. It's the book of John, chapter 19, starting at verse 38. And after this, Joseph of Arimathea, being a disciple of Yahushua, but secretly for fear of the Jews, besought Pilate that he might take away the body of Yahushua. And Pilate gave him leave. He came therefore and took the body of Yahushua. And there came also Nicodemus, which at the first came to Yahushua by night, and brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 100-pound weight.
Stop right there. Now, what we seen in that video, we seen a lot of cleansing of the body. They washed the body down. But you know what they did that they didn't show? They brought incense. They brought perfume. They bought all these things, myrrh and aloes. You know why? So the body don't stink. It was no embalming fluid. We didn't embalm the body. We put the spices on him to make him smell good, so he don't stink up the joint. That's all it is, right? Go ahead.
Then took the body of Yahushua and wound it in linen clothes with spices.
So they used those linen clothes that we showed, but this was a different kind of linen they had back then. But the wheel is still linen. We're going to be wrapped up in linen clothes, not in a suit and tie, not with a bow tie, not with the garments we wore on the earth when we was walking around, not with a baseball cap, not with no sunglasses, not with a gang banging rag on our head, not with money stuffed in our casket, not with a gun on the side of our casket, not with a liquor bottle on the side of the casket, not with a bunch of pictures in the casket, none of these things. That's not the customs. Christ was buried and wrapped up in linen cloths with spices, with smell good. When we take it back to Matthew 26, the alabaster box, that's the lady that she prepared his body while he was even alive to have a proper burial. Right? Go ahead.
With linen clothes, with spices, as the manner of the Jews is to bury.
That is the manner of the Jews. That's what Sirach 38:16 is talking about, according to the customs. Right? Go ahead.
Now in the place where he was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden a new sepulchre, wherein was never man yet laid.
Right. Christ couldn't be around nobody else because this man had the purest of all purest. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand they had to clean up his body. Remember, he was brutally beaten. They had to clean up his body. And the second reason, another reason why we buried them quickly, because understand, we never took out the guts and put embalming fluid so the body don't stink.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that. So while we bury them immediately, because the body will stink because we still have the insides in there. So you have to wrap them up. The joints and everything is going to be still moving. The nerves and stuff is going to still move. That's why you wrap them up. Keep them still. That's part of our customs. Right? So we tie them up so they can stay still. Then we put them back. And you know, in the time we had caves. That's what the sepulcher was. It's a cave. We went in there and left the body in there. They didn't put Christ 6 feet deep. No, we didn't do all that. We kept the body inside of a cave, and we had the body wrapped up, secure. So therefore, the body, when it stinks, that's why we constantly kept putting the scents on there, kept putting the perfume smell. That's our customs. Right? So give me Mark 16:1 real quick. Matter of fact, hold on. Give me Mark 16:1, but I also want to get something else too in to back it up. Oh, let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna get give me Mark 16:1, and then go to John 11:44.
It's the book of Mark, chapter 16, verse 1.
Hold on, let me get there with you. All right, go ahead.
And when the Sabbath was past, Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of James, and Salome, and had brought sweet spices that they might come and anoint him.
Right. So after when Nicodemus and I don't know how to say the other brother name that came in to took the body, they came in the next day to go ahead and try to keep the smell on the body. They tried to keep it anointed so it don't stink. You know what I'm saying? They, that's our custom. Right? So I just wanted that. Give me John 11:44. That shows you another account. We put spices on the body to keep the body smelling good.
It's the book of John, chapter 11, verse 44.
Hold on, let me get there. I gotta get there real quick. All right, go ahead.
And he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot with grave clothes. And
With what?
With grave clothes.
Those grave clothes are talking about the linen, not suits and ties. Go ahead.
And his face was bound about with a napkin.
His face was wrapped up in fine linen. Go ahead.
Yeah, Shalaki. Yahushua said unto them, loose him and let him go.
You know why I told him loose him? Because he's tied up. He's tied up. You got to untie the shoes. That's Salakia. The feet, untie the hands, right? And tie it around the where they got the bandages all wrapped around them so where they don't fly off. Untie them. This is what a part of our customs were, right? You good, Debak?
Just had to get a little bit of water, man. It's like it.
Okay, you all good. You all good. All right, start at 44 again.
It's the book of John, chapter 11, verse 44. And he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was bound about with a napkin. Yahushua said unto them, loose him and let him go.
Right, so that right there just shows you he was wrapped up. That's enough. That's part of the customs, right? Give me Genesis 50 and start at verse 1. Start at verse. I think I want verse 1. Let me look at it again. I think I want verse 1.
Yeah, 1 and 2 look like.
You said what?
I said, yeah, 1 and 2 for sure.
Okay, yeah.
All right, it's the book of Genesis, chapter 50, starting at verse 1. And Joseph fell upon his father's face and wept upon him and kissed him. And Joseph commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father. And the physicians embalmed Israel.
Now, we see that word embalm in the Bible. So when we see that, we're thinking like, hey, see, this is why we do the embalming fluid. That's not embalming. That's not what that embalming is talking about. When you look it up in the Hebrew, it means spices. Go ahead, yeah. You can pull it up. It means spices, right? It's the same custom that Yahushua went through. This is where Yahushua understood it because Yahushua is the law. Our people, this has been a traditional pass down. Right now, we're just late to the party. That's why we don't know how to do a proper burial because we keep everything on the hush. We don't want to talk about it. We kind of just say, man, when I die, I'm gone. Just let it be. I ain't worried about it. No, we shouldn't think it like that. We should say, hey, when I die, I still want to be still in the law. Buried properly. right? So we're gonna show what that embalming is to prove what I'm saying is true. Because and that's why it's so good to understand Hebrew the best of our knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Like Elder Karab said, like we should be doing it, speaking it fluently. Because guess what? We will read that, then guess what? We will see that embalming as what it is. So it's okay to get our bodies embalmed and get gutted out and donate my own organ. So we're going to look up that word embalm.
All right, there we go. Embalm. All right, that's H 2590. That's the Hebrew word kanat. All right. Outline biblical usage: to embalm, spice, make spicy, to spice, make spicy, to embalm.
Right. That's what that is. Right. So give me 2 Samuel 3:31. You know what? No, Salakia. No, you good. 2 Samuel 3:31, right? Because we're gonna talk about something else on here. 2 Samuel. Because we just want to show you that this is part of our customs. We gotta put those incense on us, right? The perfume with all that smell good. We don't have people going there and putting makeup on our faces, man. We don't do that. We don't put smiles, make the body smile on there and everything. We don't do that. We let the body be what the body is, and we just wrap it up.
It's the book of 2 Samuel, chapter 3, and verse 31. And David said to Joab and to all the people that were with him, rend your clothes and gird you with sackcloth, and mourn before Abner. And King David himself followed the buyer.
The buyer, like I brought up earlier, remember, it's the beer. It's called beer. When I brought that up earlier, that's what they had the body on. They had the body on the beer, and they push it to the burial site. I wanted to bring that out because I said that a lot earlier. Right? Go ahead.
And they buried Abner in Hebron, and the king lifted up his voice and wept at the grave of Abner, and all the people wept.
Right, and that's all. So they had a buyer. Man, I keep saying buyer myself. Beer, because it looked like buyer, beer, whatever. You know, these words out Esau and them got it. They create confusion. But at the end of the day, that's what they brought down. We put the body on the wheels. We see that today's day, but it's never been a casket. When you get these coffins and stuff, all that stuff comes from the Egyptians. The Egyptians, that was their customs, put them in a box at a cut of that type of thing of a casket. I'm not saying if you choose to do that or not, but understand, don't say that a coffin is part of our custom. It is not. It's the Egyptians' customs. Embalming and the fluid that they put in us, that is not our customs. We take that back into the Egyptian customs. Just Esau and them just adopted it. They make money off of your body. You know, they like you live, they make money. You die, they make money off of you. And we gotta break them, man. Let's not let them gut our body. Let us keep our whole body, our organs, because guess what? What they're doing, they're trying to make us believe that the body is just completely gone, that the body don't even exist anymore. So we might as well just get rid of the guts. Remember, the Most High, He's the power of all. He's the power of the living, and He's the power of the dead. So however God brings our spirit to come back is how He wants it to be. Esau wanted to be a disruptive to the whole thing of the Most High creation. Our bodies, the Bible says that we're not supposed to destroy our temples. So why are we trying to get our bodies, even when we're not in that body? Why are we just still destroying the temple? Because this is the temple. The spirit leaves and go back with the Father. Our temple is going back into the earth. So why are we going to destroy it still? The law still stands. All right. So now give me I got Mark 16:1. No, and that's pretty much with that one. Now we're going to go back. Give me back to Sirach 38, because now we're going to deal with another process we deal with mourning, right? Because when we go through these phases, man, we're going to mourn. Right? We're going to mourn.
Before you move to that, I just want to get in on the whole variant aspect, right? So grab 2 Maccabees chapter 12. You know what I'm saying? Because also within the variant, you know, we see a lot of funerals take place when? On the Saturdays, on the Shabbat. You know, so I just want to grab this to show you what our forefathers had done. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get straight to the point. I ain't gonna be too long-winded. Let's go to 2 Maccabees chapter 12, and you can start at verse 38.
This is the book of 2 Maccabees chapter 12 and verse 38. So Judas gathered his host and came into the city of Adullam. And when the 7th day came, they purified themselves as the custom was, and kept the Sabbath in the same place.
Right, so they kept the Sabbath during this time, and this is the time where they went out to battle, and you did have Jews that, you know, did get killed in the battle, right? So this is what they did. They kept the Sabbath day as the custom was, right? Go ahead.
And upon the day following, as the use had been, Judas and his company came to take up the bodies of them that were slain, and to bury them with their kinsmen in their fathers' graves.
Right, so the same thing that we done read earlier, and even now is just letting you know, like, hey, they waited till the Sabbath was over with. You know what I'm saying? To literally go ahead and bury the bodies. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, we lost our heritage, like it says in Jeremiah 17:4. So we don't do that no more. A lot of funerals, we always see them take place Saturday. So I just wanted to point that out, you know, in case anybody might have been wondering.
Absolutely. And what we do, we have a repast and food is being cooked. Hey, and the thing about that, like, thank God that we're not dealing with none of the funerals. Thank God on the Sabbath. You know, the funeral that we attending to is going to be Wednesday, and the next funeral is Friday. So we have time. The sun that won't go down, you know, thank God. But like the box said, it's officially every Saturday. Because they want to make sure everybody gets that day off to come see the body. I get it, but that's breaking law. That's breaking law. That's still breaking law. We ain't supposed to break the law. And we're not supposed to be cooking. That's why, like he said, Jeremiah 17:4. Simple. So we don't know no better. We just do things because the heathen showed us how to do it. And even if we did know, some of us still wouldn't care. Hey, that's the only way I can get off. Or this is the only way I can come in town. Hey, man, the law is still a law. Law above all. Simple. All right, let's go back to Sirach. Good way to bring that one out.
You want me to start
to Sirach
17? Yeah. You want me to start at?
No, it's 16. I'm gonna go back to it. Hold on one second.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna go back to 38 and 16. Let me just get to it real quick. I want you to read it all the way to verse 23.
Okay, cool.
All right. So what we're bringing out, this is where we come another phase in life, is the mourning. We're going to mourn for our loved one, rather if they were in the truth or not. If there was somebody that was dear to you, you're going to mourn for them. That is a natural, normal thing that we're going to mourn. We're going to mourn for the dead, right? So the order, like I was putting it together, is have your affairs in order first. Before we do the mourning, while you alive, get your affairs in order. Have everything documented. Have your life insurance in order. Have your burial insurance, if you have one, in order. Make sure that you tell your children about death certificates, how they work and how to operate them. Make sure if you got money on the side, make sure they know about that money on the side. Make sure, don't be afraid to even put names on their accounts or the bank accounts.
Okay.
So they can get access to these accounts. Because you can't go into the bank saying like, hey, I'm such and such, and you don't have ID or proof that your name is on that account. They're not going to give you the money. So make sure we do that. That's proper order. Never, hey, don't be afraid, especially if you trust your loved ones, especially your wife, especially Israel, period. That's in its truth. Hey, we know that, hey, we got to do this together. You've been long enough with your wife to understand where her mind is at or where your husband is at. And I'm calling out the men because it's our job. You didn't see nowhere in the scripture where it says that Sarah did this, Susanna did this and all that. It was the men who did this.
Okay.
It was the men who did it. So don't rely on your woman to do it. It's us as men. Us men got to be in order. Right? Go ahead. Give me Sirach 38.
Okay. It's the book of Sirach, chapter 38, verse 16. My son, let tears fall down over the dead and begin to lament, as if thou hadst suffered great harm thyself.
So there's nothing wrong with crying and shedding tears. That's normal. Why? Because you're going to miss them. They left behind great memories. You know, this is why we got a good invention out here where we can take pictures to keep remembrance. It's a good thing to have pictures. All right, go ahead.
And then cover his body according to the custom.
Again, there we go again. Cover his body according to the customs. Go ahead.
And neglect not his burial.
Right. So don't be what Esau really wants us to do is when they give us a hard time because we didn't get our affairs in order, that we don't have the proper money or the way how do we want to be buried, that they don't care if the body just sit in the morgue for however long, and then they take that body out and bury it somewhere else. That's what they do.
Okay.
If you don't claim the body at a certain time, they just get rid of it and bury it somewhere else. Ain't no telling what they do with it. And we ain't supposed to be cremated. That's not our customs. Again, we're not supposed to destroy our temple. And I get it. It's the easy way of saving money, but that's not the customs. It's not the customs. That's why, hey, prepare while you are alive so you don't get burnt up. And we do it in a shrug and shoulders like, I'm dead anyway, so who cares? Just cremate me. Carry me around and put me in an urn in your house. No, that thing is unclean. You're bringing some uncleanness ashes in your home. We got to keep the law. Continue on, bro.
Verse 17. Weep bitterly and make a great moan and use lamentation as he is worthy.
Now, why it says as he is worthy? Because a lot of times this is talking about righteous men and women.
Okay.
This is talking about righteous men and women. I'm not saying that if your mom and dad is not your not in this truth that they're not worthy to be crying on, but we really weep hard for those that was righteous because their spirit meant a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It meant a lot to us. So that's why it says as he is worthy, right? Go ahead.
And that a day or two, lest thou be evil spoken of, and then comfort thyself for thy heaviness.
Why it say in that day or two? That's just numbers. It just says you can cry and weep for a while. You know what I'm saying? But it says lest thou be spoken of, right? Because understand this. When we lose a loved one, sorrow come on us so heavy to the point that we start forgetting that we got to get back in our scriptures. We forgetting to pray like we do on a daily or whatever. We forget to call and deal with the brothers and sisters that's in our body, right? Those things can happen because of the sorrow that comes on. And we got to fight through that. And you know what? Why it says, lest thou be spoken evil of? Is because brothers can hold you accountable and say, come on, get back up. What the word, you believe in the word, right? Don't you believe what the Bible said about death? We ain't supposed to hold on to the sorrow. Sorrow's gonna come, but we gotta push it out of our lives too, because the sorrow is a curse. Ever since when Adam broke the law, him and Eve, that's when death came and sorrow became on the earth. So guess what? Sorrow is a silent killing like carbon monoxide. All right, keep going.
For of heaviness cometh death.
Right. From sorrow cometh death. All right, go ahead.
And the heaviness of the heart breaketh strength.
It breaks you down. You start getting weak, start going to the hospital. And even going back to verse 17 when it says, and then comfort thyself for thy heaviness. Get back into the scriptures. Get back into your daily routine. Like I was telling my brothers, well, next week, once everything we bury our family members, I'm back in the mix. I'm back in the mix. Because if I don't, then guess what? I'm allowing depression and sorrow to take over. I can't have that. Right? Continue.
Verse 19, and affliction also sorrow remaineth.
Right, because the grief lingers on after death. Go ahead.
And the life of the poor is the curse of the heart.
Again, that grieving mess around and make you not wise enough to hold up. You mess around and die and mess around, not be able to spend money, be in all kind of poverty. You mess around drinking your life away. You mess around like, I'm not going to work. I'm too tired, man. I'm too depressed. I miss my mom or my dad, or I wish my uncle or aunt. I wish my cousin or my friend was around. Hey, man, we got the ingredients right in front of us. Get into the scriptures so we don't fall into that sorrow. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Take no heaviness to heart.
Don't lose yourself in the sorrow.
Okay.
All right.
Drive it away. And remember the last end.
What that means that, remember, you're going to die too. Remember, you're going to die too. We all have a day to die. That's what that's talking about. If we understand death, that, hey, like the firstborn son I was talking about, understand regeneration is in place, where he's coming back if the Most High still allow this earth to continue to go on. If not, then we may see him. If we make it to the kingdom, we're going to see him again, or him or her. We have to understand these things. If we don't have that understanding, man, Esau destroys our minds so much they make death look like, hey, once you're dead, you're gone. It's the worst thing of life. I read in the scripture says sometimes death is better than life.
Okay.
You know why? Because it's a different understanding. We have to have that understanding. That should make you feel a little bit better. That's how me and my wife have been getting together on it. We understanding how the process of it is. Don't get me wrong, it's hard. It's hard. But through the hardship, hey, these scriptures put a smile on our face. It was one period where we was missing each other. Hey, she was going over here dealing with her aunt, with her father. I'm over here, I'm at work at night, thinking about processing everything, thinking about her dad, thinking about my aunt, thinking about how my wife holding herself up. And I had to put myself aside because I'm busy worrying about her. You know what I'm saying? But when we came to these scriptures, and again, shout out to all the brothers and the sisters that came into our help of need. Everybody came through. Everybody checked on us. We didn't moan and groan by ourselves, right? We had them and we had the scriptures. So when me and my wife brought up the scriptures and we brought this chapter out, we started smiling again. We started smiling. We started coming back to ourselves. Now we can laugh. The hardest thing that we got to deal with is next week. And after next week go, that's the final chapter. We continue to push on. Now, when you're reading the book of Acts, we ain't got to get it. It's the same thing when Christ was getting resurrected. What did he tell the disciples? What the angels told him, like, why are you staring and gazing in the sky? He's with the Father. Get back to work. But I got to go back to do. Get back to work. Put my boots back on, get in them streets, start teaching, making videos, do what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? Deal with all the brothers, congregate, get back into the force. That's what we got to do. All right? Salaki, go ahead. You at verse 21?
21, Con. Verse 21, forget it not, for there is no turning again.
There's no way you're bringing the dead back. Right? Go ahead.
Thou shalt not do him good, but hurt thyself.
Right, because all your sorrow is not going to do you no good. All it's going to do is hurt you. You're going to be stressed out. That's why, hey, sorrow is a curse. It can kill you. All right, go ahead.
Remember my judgment, for thine also shall be so.
Right. Go ahead.
Yesterday for me, and today for thee.
Right. So today is a turn, and tomorrow will be yours. Today was his turn, but then guess what? Yours is coming. Go ahead.
When the dead is at rest, let his remembrance rest.
Right. So don't hold on to it. You got to let the memory fade. You would never forget, trust me. But don't hold on to where it's going to kill you. Right? Go ahead.
And be comforted for him.
Right. Because once they are gone, you will be encouraged. This is why we said, me and my wife said, hey, once we bury them, be back in the forefront. We're back in the forefront. And I'm not talking about we back and reading our Bible again. No, we've been doing that this whole time. I'm not talking about praying. No, we've been doing that the whole time. I'm not talking about fasting. We've been doing that too. I'm talking about getting that word back out to the people in the world. All right, give me Psalms. I got a couple more and then we'll be finished up. Give me Psalms 147 and 3.
You want me to finish this? I gotta finish it up.
Oh, I thought it was done. My bad.
No, just one more line. It says, and be comforted for him when his spirit is departed from him.
Right. So the absence of the body is in the presence of Christ. Simple as that. You give me Psalms 147 and 3. So when you're mourning, hey, it's okay to mourn, but also don't hold on to it. This is what the scriptures are saying. All right.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 147, verse 3. He healeth the broken in heart and bindeth up their wounds.
Right. That's what the Most High do. As long as we stay in the proper order of how to deal with our struggles, he gives us the blueprint in his Bible. He will heal us. He gonna heal all our wounds because he understands the brokenhearted. Christ understood it. You see, when Lazarus died, he wept.
Mm-hmm.
When John the Baptist died, you see what he did? He separated for a minute. But you know why? Got to process these things. Never feel like it's wrong to process that you need a minute, that you need to separate for a minute to get your process and mind together. There's nothing wrong with that. That's in the scriptures. Because that's a lot. But you don't dwell in it and you don't stay in it. You get back up like Christ did. You get back up like the disciples did and keep it pushing. Because guess what? The Most High gonna heal all wounds. All right, give me Isaiah 61, 2 and 3. So even with this is going towards the captivity, but guess what? In our captivity, we lost our land, we lost our inheritance. Hey, we've been moaning and groaning. But guess what? It's life behind that.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, starting at verse 2. To proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord.
Salaki. Oh yeah, my bad. Go ahead. My bad.
To proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord, and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all that mourn.
Right. God is going to comfort us through our mourning. And you can believe it or not. If you don't believe it, then guess what? You're going to stay mourning. But if you believe that, the Most High is going to comfort you, no matter what. Go ahead.
To appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness.
So that beauty of ashes, the ashes is representing the grief. That's the grief. Because God is going to give us back life, right? So like it said in this, I think it's Ecclesiastes chapter 3, a time to weep and a time to dance.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because the dancing means is coming back to your life. Come back to being who you are. Come back to yourself. Right? Go ahead.
That they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified.
Because God's going to get the glory. When we go through our loved ones, God is going to get the glory. So when we grieve, God's going to get the glory. So to sum it all up, brothers and sisters, get your affairs in order. Understand the proper burial, what we need. Take it in consideration, this video and the scriptures. Take it in consideration of learning how to get it, everything done and decently in order. So we don't fall in that example of our family members fighting over us while we with the Father. And you can't do like what Saul did and go to that witch and say, bring me Samuel so I can ask, hey, where's my life insurance policy at? Were you trying to bring your father back or your aunt or whoever? Do you have the life insurance policy? I need to get you buried. We can't do that. That's what Saul Wicked Butt did. We don't, to eliminate all that wickedness, that witchcraft, have a conversation with your family. Sit down and talk to them sometime soon, today or whatever. You need to have that personal conversation. Let them know what all your bank's information. Let your wife know all those things. So they'll know. They will know that, hey, when you leave, I'm going to be in good hands and I ain't got to go find out it's a missing this and a missing that. Everything will be in order. All right. So other than that, I land there. You got anything to Brother Debat?
Nothing except, man, beautiful lesson, man. Definitely well informative, definitely well needed, you know what I'm saying, in the Israelite community. Because again, this is a tough conversation, but we got to do it, like you said. You know what I'm saying? We got to do it. And, you know, just all praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High for the knowledge, you know what I'm saying, that was shared today. And hopefully, you know, the Most High literally used you, brother, you know what I'm saying, in your household to edify the people, you know. So that's all I got.
Hey, also, don't forget to share the video. Don't forget to like the video. And on the bottom of the ticker, we have a phone number to call if you want to have if you have any questions, or you want to email us by our email on the bottom, asking maybe how you want to join us or however. And also, don't forget to donate, man. Donating helps out a lot. Keeps our feast days in order. It helps us get to a traveling process or whatever. It helps out a lot. It's not for us to be spending on anything. It's that's unlawfully or unwanting. We do it for the stay in the ministry. We keep it in the ministry. So, hey, and we put our time in doing these lessons for you guys to be edified. So it's not a force to tell you to do it, but hey, it'll be a beautiful thing to help the Most High's people to continue the ministry so we can get up out of here.
Okay.
Right. And other than that, I have nothing to say. You guys have a blessed Sabbath. Shalom. Love you, Israel. Continue the faith and continue to keep pushing forward. Shalom.
All right, shalom.
Spacious air, reflecting the way of life under the Florida sky. Even the lobbies funnel in the great outdoors.
was set apart for the Jews.
Chosen.
I was set apart for the Jews. Formed in His image.
Chosen. They say the chain of Shaitan is not that strong. They say his time is running out, he ain't got that long. They say murder, murder, kill, this is not that song. Said I won't amount to nothing, they got that wrong. Cause I was set apart and I was shown the light. And if I get the kingdom, I'll be clothed in white. 1/3 will be delivered and the rest were blinded. Their fate is set in stone, what you ain't read the fine print? Christ is gonna give a crown to us. In the end we'll have the nations bowing down to us, with their faces to the ground to us. It's the truth, as crazy as it sounds to us. Jacob forever rules, and we're his precious jewels. Showed us love and patience, put us above the nations. And that's the gospel, thank God for choosing me. Bad news for you, it's really good news for me.
I was set apart for the Jews.
Chosen.
I was set apart for the Jews. Formed in His image.
Let me tell you why. We have a different kind of shine, a different kind of mind. The rhythm's not the same, we're on a different type of time. With a different kind of pace, a different kind of race. The season's not the same, we have a different kind of taste. A different kind of salt, we are so not them. Got my sword and my shield, man, I'm so locked in. And when I came to serve Yahweh, I put my whole heart in. So I can't sit calm, I'm no Martin. And that's a reach, y'all, chosen to teach y'all. Every Sabbath you can find us in the streets, y'all. Dear Ya Allah, my nickname is Priest, y'all. In the gym, they say that I'm a beast, y'all. Set apart, the nations all hating me. Set a trap, they lying in wait for me. Chris Paul, they don't wanna play with me. But if you love me, I'm asking that you pray with me. Cause
I was set apart for the Jews.
chosen.
I was set apart for the Jews. Formed in His image.
Chosen. And thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God have chosen thee to be a special people, chosen above all people that's on the face of the earth. That's Deuteronomy 7 and 6. That's you, black and Latin man. Chosen. That's you, black and Latin woman. Yeah. And we were chosen. Chosen.